into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Welcome, everybody, to Epic Tales from the Sewers. I am your host, Justin. I'm joined today by my co-host, Andy, and our special guest, Scott. Today, we're going to be talking about the big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic event of 2020, the last Ronin comic. How you doing, guys?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Right. Let's jump into this. So, I know you guys are as excited as I am about the last Ronin. There's a lot of speculation on who it might be. Hopefully today we'll give a little extra information to all of our listeners about who it isn't. But let's talk about your first impressions on this. I know this came out earlier in 2020. The idea had been kicking around for about 32 years, sitting on the shelf somewhere. Some early layouts by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird from, say, 1987. And they're using that as an outline. So Peter Laird is not going to be involved so much in the writing of this as in just what he did back in the day. But Tom Waltz has taken that and kind of run with it. And he's the resident turtle scribe for the at least issues 1 through, was it 106 now? 107? So, but what are we thinking, guys? How's this look?
Well, my first impression was a total cowabunga when I saw that there was only going to be one turtle. But you know what? It's like I really think that just from the what is it, 1, 2, 3-page preview I've got, it's going to be absolutely epic.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to see just one turtle going at it alone and see who his allies are now. Now that he's lost his brothers, who's he working with? Because in the 3-page preview, you do see that he's talking to somebody.
Oh, definitely.
He's talking to something. My speculation on that, I think he's lost it. I think he's completely lost. Excuse me.
Oh, so you don't even think there's anybody.
So interesting enough. I don't know if either of you guys have been keeping up on the hype and all that, but there was something called WonderCon at Home not too long ago, and it was a hour-long conversation between Kevin Eastman, one of the co-creators of Ninja Turtles, and Tom Waltz. So they went through some of this. They didn't answer as many questions as they left the potential readers with, but I can right now 100% tell you that this is not Jennika, and that Jennika, the fifth turtle, does not at all appear in this book. So unequivocally. So when we get to our who is Ronin and all that, we know definitively from the creators of this book, it is not Jennika, and Jennika will not appear in this book.
Okay.
So that's good. And the other speculation that we can kind of knock out is it going to be like a descendant of the turtles or anything like that? They have said that it is one of the 4. So it's either going to be one of them. It's not going to be someone new. It's not going to be Jennika. So, that kind of leads into our discussion on who do we think it is?
Oh, okay. So we're gonna take a stab at that.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. Well, not to fanboy here, but like I really, really want to see it be Mikey, just because I think that is gonna hit. That's gonna hit the heartstrings the hardest. It's like Mikey going from this, happy-go-lucky party turtle to like just completely, well, not completely broken, but heavily broken mind, body, and spirit. You can't see anything because the turtle's totally covered up, but I bet you he's got some scars that you can't see, you will see, and some that are just emotional. Like I said, the first page here, there's that panel where you go, we go, and that. And it's like, is that an ally? Is that the astral projection of his brothers? Is that in his head? We'll find out, but it's like it like you said, it leaves more questions than what it answers. Second, I'd have to say probably Raph, even though they've kind of like done the whole Mad Max cartoon episode before. Raph just makes, in my opinion, the most sense. Then Leo, and then I know there's a lot of fan theories for Donnie. And it's not that I don't like Donnie, it's just I think that I would get a much better story out of Mikey than any of the rest of them. Donnie would be second as far as getting a better story because Leo's predictable, Raph's predictable, and Raph's been done. So I'm going to pass the size to Scott now.
Well, it's hard to follow up on that because I basically agree with everything you just said. That was my predictions. Mikey being I think the best candidate and the best turtle to fit the story. I think that would be, Mikey would have a total 180 of a character. And I think he would just be the turtle, the best to suit this story and to see where he's at this point, after losing his brothers. Raph, I think is too predictable, as well as Leo. Donnie is my favorite turtle. However, for some reason, I do not feel like this is Donnie. For me, I think it's either going to be Mikey or Raph. That's who I really think it is. And since Raph has been done before, I think it's time to do it, give it to Mikey and see what we can do with we can take this character.
So interesting enough, some of the things that you said there, just to kind of play off of, I also think that it would be a very compelling story if they use Michelangelo, because it's very against his personality and such. As Andy was saying, we'll talk about it in a little bit, the Carmageddon episode of the 2012 Ninja Turtle series, where it's sort of like a dystopian future, where actually at the end of the episode, they put a little blurb up there with the Kevin Eastman art and the Peter Laird art, and it says for Peter and Kevin. So, but we know that this is something different than that. So I think that I agree with you about Raphael, that's the easy answer everybody's looking for. I'm starting to turn the corner on if this could be Donatello. The one standout for me is that Donatello has never lost anyone. In any of the stories that have ever existed, Donatello has been the one that's harmed or turned into a robot or disappeared or something along those lines. He has never personally had to deal with loss. The loss of his brothers, the loss of anything really. So he would be an interesting person to pursue. Now, the other piece about this is, how interesting is it that in the future, the one turtle that understands technology would be the one who's the last Ronin? So he would be able to do those sort of things that Michelangelo wouldn't necessarily be able to do, like hack into a computer or break into like an installation. It would just really force Donatello to focus on the things that he had been letting go, like the training and survival instinct and all that, because he gets so he's like Reed Richards in that sense, that he gets blindsided by other things. So I think that I'm going to put my second choice up there for Donatello.
Yeah. Now, with you saying that gives me a new theory right now. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen or had the opportunity to read. I think it's called Five Ghosts, where the guy is like, he's literally possessed by, I think it's Dracula, Sherlock Holmes, Merlin, Genghis Khan, and I want to say Robin Hood.
That sounds wonderful. Where's that from?
It's called Five Ghosts. There's a couple, I think there's like 3 books, comic books of it out, or trade paperbacks. And I think he can like channel these ghosts. He's like a medium. He can like channel these ghosts and use, the vampire, the thief, the wizard,
that sounds
the
insane.
samurai, and something else. Cause I tried to make it as a D&D character. I was like, how do I multi-class into this thing where it's like, I can do this. But what if that's like the last Ronin? It's like, yes, it is physically Mikey's body or physically Donnie's body, but he's literally like channeling his brothers, and that's why he's able to fight with all the weapons.
And that's the other part that you kind of led in with. We have seen astral projection before with Splinter, and we know that, I think there's times that, they've been able to communicate. Do we think that that's going to play a part in this? Like,
there's teaser art where I don't know if it was just, here's art to show that the brothers are gone. And they're kind of like comforting one turtle. Is that just art, or is that actually them manifesting to comfort their brother? Or, again, is this a psychic, a mental projection? He thinks that they're there.
Yeah. What
I know the art you're talking about. Yeah.
I think that this guy's angry. Every time I've seen his face, he's scowling or he's grim or something like that. To me, that says that he's alone, or he's angry, or he's on a hunt for vengeance or something like that. So I don't think that we'll see something along those lines. I think that we'll see some more metaphorical sort of things, some more storytelling elements. But, That would be a really cool angle if they did the whole thing where, after 30 years, he's able to make contact, through meditation or something. Like, I would totally dig that.
I agree, Justin. I think you're right, though. I think the way that preview, teased the story, I feel like he is more just on his own. And if he does talk to his brothers, it's more in the superficial way that he's just, talking to them, not expecting, they're not there, that they are gone. But I think maybe he still talks to them as if they are there. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. And, I know,
whatever gets him through another day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just in case any of the listeners don't realize what this is, I'm going to give a little bit of a synopsis here because we have jumped ahead. But I'm assuming if you listen to this, you kind of know what's going on. But the plot synopsis is this. In a future New York City, far different from one we know today, a lone surviving turtle goes a seemingly hopeless mission to obtain justice for his fallen family and friends. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin features layouts by Kevin Eastman, inks from Andy Kuhn, and a script by Tom Walsh. It's a 5-issue miniseries that will be a double-sized comic. It's going to be 48 pages, and it's going to be oversized. So it's going to be a longer book itself. It's going to be larger, so they're going to fit more content in there. So it's going to be pretty big. So and it is along the vein. Just hearing Eastman and Walsh talk about it, it's along the vein of kind of Mad Max and your dystopian future. But it also has elements of, he said, Blade Runner. More specifically than anything else, they mentioned Dark Knight Returns, which is pretty exclusively why I wanted to have you here, Scott, being the resident Batman expert. So we are going to see your grim and gritty, Frank Miller-esque Ninja Turtle here. So
I'm really excited for this now.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that was like a cherry on top.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's the whole thing. Ninja Turtles are tied into the Frank Miller run of Daredevil because the whole idea was the turtles were mutated from the radioactive canister that gave Daredevil his sight. That's kind of like the headcanon that the creators had given us. So it's not real, but it's like the creators have told us that was their plan. So, the kid that got pushed. Exactly.
Official origin, yes.
So, and I mean, Raphael has size because of Elektra. It's there. It's all there. So,
read between the lines.
Exactly. So knowing that, you guys have read Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns, and then there's Dark Knight Rises Again. I've not read The Master Race yet, but I've heard it's actually better than it was expected to be. So I'll have to get on that one. But what are we looking forward to if we're looking to make some comparisons here? Can you think of anything that would be kind of like a good kind of parallel between the two?
Just the dark colors that they're using. Like, everything's just dismal.
Yeah, I think originally we had thought that this was going to be black and white, but they've, with the little solicitation they came out with 5 pages, it's definitely colored in book.
I'm hoping to see a comparison with, like, maybe, this turtle has been laying low for maybe the last, because this is 20 years in the future. So maybe the last 18 years, he's kind of been just MIA and just, an event happens and he just realizes he has to get back in the fight, maybe kind of in the way the Dark Knight Returns was.
Yeah, I think you're right. So something must force his hand because, and I mean, since they're calling him Ronin, right? A Ronin is essentially a samurai without a master. So, we know that something must have happened to the family and everything else from there. Just the title itself is a clue. And I mean, there's always that sort of trope of the wandering samurai. And now when asked about just kind of where he got his inspiration from this, was there any specific film or anything like that? Eastman said literally all samurai films and all that. What he's pulling from is he's getting his fight scene ideas from a lot of these movies. And one that came up, he said very specifically, was a Jet Li film, and it was called Fists of Legend, which I have never seen. But I guess it's a 1994 Hong Kong martial arts film. And let's see, I'm just looking to see if they had the plot synopsis. It is, let's see, Chen Zhen attends a class in Kyoto University when thugs from the Black Dragon clan burst in and attempt to force him out because he's Chinese. Let's see, he forms a relationship with his professors and classmates to defend his presence. The thugs turn violent, and Chen easily defeats them using a variety of controlled Qin-Na techniques. So, and then it goes on to say that basically it's a story about teaching students to uprise against oppressors, something along those lines. So I'm wondering if I'm to take the clue from this, from Fist of Legend, is the Ronin going to become a leader and maybe instigate some sort of revolution?
Yeah, because just because he's the last Ronin doesn't mean he's the last mutant. You know, we've seen the mutanimals show up before. Maybe it's time for a new breed, if you will.
Yeah, and that would track with what's going on right now in the current continuity, where there's that mutagen bomb that mutated like an entire borough of New York. However, I will say this: they have confirmed that this is an independent thing. And when asked, is this the Mirage universe or is this the IDW universe? Is this they call it the Fred Wolf, from the cartoons, the Fred Wolf verse, or is this, the 2012 verse? He said yes. So they're being non-specific about it. So I think it's supposed to be like Dark Knight, something that's almost like an Elseworlds title, but it's something that's like, it's out there, it exists. But their goal was, from the beginning, they're like, if you tell a story, you want to kind of know where to end it. So this should be their bookend to it. And they really spoke a lot about the movie Logan, in the film Logan. And I think that after seeing that, probably got their juices flowing again. And they're like, yes, we should do something like this. So I think we're going to see elements of that in it. So with this Fist of Legend, Logan, and Dark Knight Returns. And he did mention a lot of Blade Runner. So I guess Blade Runner was a huge influence on Tom Waltz. So
yeah, I'm looking at the full 2-page spread of what I presume is New York, and it looks like it's like walled off, kind of like Escape from New York, or
yeah, they're talking about like extreme pollution and toxins in the water and things along those lines. And we know turtles are long lived, at least tortoises are. So I mean, if they're going to pull from that, I mean, this is 30 years from now, and the world has gone to hell.
Yeah, and these walls look pretty high because they're skyscrapers that look like they go down street level, and there's some super mega giant
isn't all
building.
Security on the inside? Isn't he like?
Yep.
And then to the city where security's like feeding on the inside of the city, that there's not so much on the outside.
Oh yeah. We're not trying to keep people out. We're trying to keep people in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a very Matrix vibe right there.
Yeah, because there's just vast waste, and then, like I said, the high-walled cities, but they're curved in, not out. Like, if they were curved up and out towards the wasteland, that would be indicating, we don't want you in. But no, these are curving back in toward the city. Like, that's not just for acid rain runoff. That is a strategic plan, because there's probably turrets and cameras and whatever else. And that was my big question. I've been so blindsided by who the we lost Scott.
Keep going.
I got so blindsided by who the turtle's going to be that I didn't think of who the villain is going to be.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because we know that Baxter Stockman's going to be in it. So just from the solicitation for the second film, the second issue. Yeah, it seems so epic, right? So yeah. Issue 2 was supposed to come out in October. Issue 1 was supposed to come out in August. They've pushed issue 1 back to October, and we don't know when issue 2 is going to come out. Hopefully December. But Previews they have Previews magazine, which gives you your pre-orders, which basically tells consumers when to pre-order a book, and tells comic shops how many books to order for their pre-orders and such. So with this, they give a little synopsis of what's going on in number 2. And if you look at number 2, the cover is a sai, and the sai is like kind of falling through the water. And, there's like some bubbles and stuff like that. So it's like an action shot of this thing falling. And it talks about an unlikely ally in Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't think we've ever really seen Baxter be a true ally for very long.
Yeah, he is self-interest, if nothing else. And, I mean, whether he's a fly or whether he's a human, I mean, he is just the shadiest of people. And, it's going to be interesting to see, what is it going to look like? Is he going to be like a head in a jar or something? I'm interested in that aspect of it. Since they say they're going to pull from Blade Runner and, StockGen is known for its, genetic manipulation. And, it's also known for, like the robotics with the Mausers and all that. Are we going to see like a head on a Mauser body?
Oh my God.
It's possible. I mean, you think of like the Mr. Freeze aspect of things where, it's like, far into the future with like Batman Beyond, and it's just Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze's head, which is, on like a spider sort of body.
Yeah, so, kind of like the Thing, just coming at you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, like the Thing, and I wonder what we're going to see in terms of like shocking moments. I don't think it's something that we could really predict, but I think it's going to be when like the shocking parts are probably going to be what everybody wants to know. How did the other turtles die? And, like just how's it going from there? And I think the flashback sequences are going to be really interesting.
Yeah, there's one, I think it's not The Long Halloween. I think that's a Batman or a Joker comic.
Yeah, I love that one. That's such a good book.
There's one, and it's kind of like a scary Turtles comic, and there's, I guess, Utron bots or something. There's some kind of robots, and one just like literally like melts Donnie's face just like clean off.
That's Urban Legends. So
Urban Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not afraid to shy away from the gore in Turtles comics.
It is an independent comic, and I mean, at the end of the day, this is not your Marvel, DC, formerly Comics Code and all that stuff. This is not your Rise of the TMNT comic. No, this is for veteran fans, I'd say. I mean, I'd say you got to know your kids, and we try and keep the sewer pretty clean around here. Yeah.
But
welcome back.
This.
We were just saying on how they've already confirmed that Baxter Stockman is going to be a unlikely ally, and he is going to show up in issue 2.
Yeah, we were talking about, we spent so much time speculating on who the turtle is and nothing on who the
do we even know who the antagonist is?
It's my thought is it's going to be someone that he can't take on by himself. I'm assuming it's going to be someone who is in charge of the infrastructure. So since he's the outsider and all that, so it's got to be someone who's in charge. I mean, could it be the Foot Clan? I mean, we know the Foot Clan is going to be in it because he mentions it in those pages. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's something bad happened, very similar to kind of like your old man Logan story, right? So something bad happened. He survived, but he survived probably because he stayed out of it. So now he's being drawn back into it. And, that's kind of like the interesting piece. It's like, all right, so he's going to have to team up with someone, and there's going to be like unlikely alliances, and I think that's what's really going to make this an interesting plot.
Here we go. Here's my theory. It is Bop Steady. It is a composite Bebop Rocksteady. 2 bodies, 1 brain.
Okay, all right. That's a very Family Guy take on it, but it's. I mean, can I say no? No, I can't. So sure, Bop Steady. Let's put him down. I think it's Cuddly Cowlick. I think it's the giant cow head that takes them to the intergalactic. No, I'm just kidding. So, when asked if either the Utrom or the Triceraton would show up, they said no, but kind of. So I think they may mention them, but it's not going to be Utrom and it's not going to be Triceraton.
Not going to be showing up there in New York.
Exactly.
What if it's like in the Michael Bay movie when he had all the aliens in like cryo freeze? What if it's some kind of like Craven the Hunter type dude, and he's got like a Triceraton skull on the wall, and there's like an Utron in a.
That's cool. That would be cool. Like the Predator. I like that because they actually. I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you see the recreation of one of the variant covers of Spider-Man coming out of the grave from Kraven's Last Hunt, like that Mike Zeck cover?
Yeah, they've got a
yeah.
Ronin.
Oh, was that cool?
That was.
And Scott, you might be able to comment on this, but in terms of like pre-ordering these variant covers and stuff like that, have you seen the prices on these things?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of them are pretty pricey.
Oh my goodness! And
But
then
alone,
it's like I was looking at them.
It's an $8.99 book standard retail, so that's just the regular copy. So these incentive covers are crazy.
Not even printed. They're talking about grading these things, right? And selling you a copy of a graded book online for like $1,400.
Yep.
And it's like, it's an amazing cover. Yes, but it's not even printed yet.
That can be a double-edged sword too with those pre-orders. I can remember when Legends of the Dark Knight, the Dark Knight's tie-in came out, and that book was selling for $400 pre-order. And now that book is out, that variant cover that was going for $400 is now you can get for $150. So those pre-orders, there's a lot of hype to them, but it's not always good to jump on that hype.
Now, here's my question. We're seeing a lot of these blank covers now where you draw your own cover. Could you get those graded, or is that just completely you drew on it? It is completely ruined now.
That incentive is to take it to actually get take it to a convention and get one of your artists to draw something on the cover. That's that incentive. But you can get it graded blank.
Okay.
Yeah. You can. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't grading just about the quality of the book, like your spine, your corners, everything like
that? You're trying to preserve that book. You're not going to read that book because it's going to be encapsulated in this, plastic sleeve. So you're not even going to be able to. You don't have access to the book once you have it graded. So you're just trying to preserve.
I mean, you could, but then
but
spend how much money getting it graded,
you're going
and just potentially ruin it.
Yeah, what's the point then?
It's like, man, I really wish. That's why you always buy two. I keep this one wrapped in plastic.
I buy two of it. Like when I have a book that I'm going to grade, I buy one. Well, I'm a variant collector, so I will usually buy the standard and the variant anyway. But if I have a book that I really want to get graded, I tend to buy multiple copies of that book.
Now, there's a lot of variants to this. I don't know if you guys have taken a look. They just keep teasing us with this, and I'm looking. There's one that actually has snake eyes on it. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, so there's one where Ronin is fighting an obvious robot, but the robot looks exactly like Snake Eyes and has like a kind of mock-up of the was it Arashikage tattoo on his arm. So there's that one. The boss. Go ahead.
I want once we find out if they ever tell us, but once we find out what turtle, I want to see the variant where it's the X-Men and it's executed, slain, captured, with Ronin and whoever his ally is taking the partner spot on that cover.
Yeah, the Days of Future Past one. So yeah. Absolutely.
Let's get a Dark Knight Returns cover with the last Ronin and whoever his sidekick person is jumping across the cover. That'd be cool.
I would love that. I've seen the cover that they have that is similar to that for the regular Turtles. That is just such an icon with the lightning flashing behind it. So absolutely,
you're right. It's an iconic cover.
And is this tipping us off because there is this one cover that was released, and this looks like an actual cover because it's showing up here, and it is the Ronin, right? But it looks like they added a fourth turtle in here just to kind of not tell us who it is. I don't know if you guys saw this one, but now there's 4 turtles on here, and there's ghosts of the 4 turtles. So there's Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. And I'm wondering if they literally just teased us by adding the Michelangelo in there, because I didn't see him when I saw this cover last time.
Yeah, I've seen the one with the 3 ghost turtles. I haven't seen the one with 4.
If you look up the variant covers, there's one that's very similar to that, because that is, in my estimation, that is probably the coolest cover. The one with him kind of kneeling down and the 3 turtles with their hand on his back. That's amazing.
Yeah, I want to get that one.
That's
my speculation. My speculation on that one was that Leo had his hand. Leo is the ghost that got his hand on the shoulder. Raph is the one in the middle with the scarred up front plate, and then Donnie is the remaining turtle. It's just the body language just kind of says to me that's what pushed me to think that it was Michelangelo. I was like, okay, just look at the body language of these turtles. And I know some people argue that Raph would be the toucher and Leo would be the scarred up one, and Mikey's the one in the back and Donnie's the one kneeling. Donnie's the Ronin, but everybody's got their own theory about it, and that's what's great. It's like there's 4 turtles, and just amongst the 3 of us, it's like we've all each got a different favorite turtle. So if we went to the arcade, it's not going to break out into fisticuffs.
Oh no!
But at the same time, it's not like your turtle sucks and you're stupid for picking that turtle. It's like, oh, cool. It's like we only need one more guy that likes Raph, and that's what I encounter the most of. I think I encounter more Raph fans, than anyone else.
It's interesting that you guys say that. So again, going back to this interview that they did. So between Eastman and Walsh, they said amongst all the shows that they've done, all everywhere, it always comes up, who's your favorite turtle? There is no clear division of who has the most favorite turtle, who's the most popular turtle, anything like that. They said that it is something that is equalized out where it's literally like 25% of the population, 25%, 25, like that. And you would think it's like, oh, well, people must love Michelangelo. People must love this. I hear all the time that people are like, I love Michelangelo from the original cartoon series, but I love Donatello from the 2012 series. So I think it really kind of varies. Me, I don't equivocate. I always like Leonardo the best. He's just my favorite. So, and you had mentioned, Scott, that you like Donnie, and Andy has mentioned that he likes Michelangelo. So, it's cool because there's something for everybody here.
Oh, most definitely. And I didn't pick it based on their weapon either, because, it's like, we all know that, Leo's got, the most efficient weapon, but,
dude, Raph has that sai, which at the end of the day, like, Splinter even says, no sword can match his sai. And that's essentially what that weapon is. That is to defeat, like, he should be there to defeat someone who has a sword. So that's a pretty badass weapon. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's all subjective too, because, 2 swords, that's why you have 2 sides. I came off of liking. Exactly.
Yeah, wasn't there even an episode where he broke one of Leo's swords with a size, and
that was in the 2007 movie.
It was kind of humbling for Leonardo, like, I'm the leader, but it's like, if I ever go, Superman mad, like, here's Batman Raph to, like, put me back in check.
Oh, I love
that's an interesting take too. So, Scott, have you seen the 2012 series where they did the Mad Max, the Carmageddon? Have you seen that one where Raph is in the truck?
That's the first Nickelodeon series, right? That they put out?
Yes, yeah.
I don't think I'm familiar with that episode. I'm familiar with the series, but I don't think I've seen that one.
It's the one that I'm speculating whether or not turtles can grow beards, or Raph is just wearing some beard thing to keep his face warm.
Well, if you watch the second part of that episode, right, because it's a 2-part episode, so Donatello has died. He has turned his consciousness into like a metalhead sort of robot.
Okay.
Right? And he's the sidekick of Raphael. Raphael looks like the Ronin, but he also looks like a giant biker with kind of like a red bandana head thing that's made out of leather rather than a mask.
Okay.
And it's part Mad Max, it's part Waterworld, and it's all dystopian future. So Raph is driving the Shell Razor, and he's got to find fuel. They've got to find water and all that. He gets attacked by some honey badgers, like, who have been mutated, and then he finds this character. I want to say her name is like Mira or something like that. And she's a honey badger, and she has a map on her to the oasis where all this water is. So.
Oh, okay. That's the Waterworld connection.
Exactly. Right. So he's being pursued by, like Kong the Conqueror or something like that. So, I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit of spoilers here. Just, if you go back, you can watch it on Hulu and all that. It turns out as he goes through this futurescape that's like kind of hellish, he has Donatello with him. We don't know what happened to the other 2 turtles. He finds Michelangelo in an abandoned,
as the guru.
Yeah, he's like this religious leader or something, like kind of like he turned into a hippie. He's all kind of like skinny because he hasn't been practicing and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny. He just looks like maybe he was off in the desert getting stoned for 30 years or something.
Yeah,
So-
it looks like if you turned Willie Nelson into a turtle.
Yes, that's, you know what, that's a really good, yeah, exactly. So, but to go forward and to take this, there was like a mutagen bomb that went off in it, and as we find out, and it mutated all of the population into, you know, like lizards or honey badgers or turtles or whatever. We find out that Kong the Conqueror is really Leonardo, and it's kind of like this huge, like, whoa,
Wow,
moment. You
Yeah,
know,
he's got like that. He's got like a weird deformed body, but like a baby head.
yes, the only thing I can liken it to is Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty, when they go to this sort of dystopian dimension, and there's that guy that Summer likes. Yeah, so he looks like that, even with the helmet. So they totally ripped it off from that. But I know that's not where this is going, but it's so interesting and compelling because it's a really good version of what this could be. You know, and it kind of sets some of the groundwork. So I would recommend that to anyone who's listening. Go and check out the 2012 Nickelodeon series. You can find it on Hulu. And I know the second issue is called Carmageddon, so it might be Carmageddon 1 and 2. But it's in the 5th season. I think it's right before the Usagi Yojimbo episode.
Oh,
but it is really good.
I did see that.
Yeah,
one.
the 5th season.
Yeah, that
The 5th was like a series of love letters. Like nothing was canon from one story to the next. When it is a bunch of 2-parters.
Yeah. And I mean, they did a really good job of pacing on the show where it wasn't just like, oh, I'm driving and then there's a fight and this. It's like it really led into something else. And with the character voices that you know being so different, but the voices being the same, it's like, okay, Michelangelo sounds the same, but you see him, he's so different. So it's really jarring. And to see, you know, Donatello as this robot, and he looks like a robot bunny, kind of. You know?
Yeah, he was real sleek formed. He wasn't, you know, like chunky, like you know, when he built Metalhead, he built him to look like a turtle.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this robot body was built. It was definitely built for speed.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, and I mean they had the Shell Razor and all that.
I'm gonna have to check that episode out today.
Yeah, it's good. And like I said, if you have Hulu, it's on there.
Yeah, I do.
5, you can check
I do.
it out.
I'm gonna check.
And I think that's a great sort of like lead into this, you know, for Ronin as we get ready for it. Hopefully to be released
As long as it comes out on time again, because it's been pushed back several times now.
Now we do know that the second time it was pushed back was due to COVID-19 reasons for distribution. Yeah. So it probably had something to do with printing or
I think so.
You know, getting it where it needed to go and getting the physical copies.
Yeah, I think that was pandemic related.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I already pre-ordered a copy, and I have a copy in my pull box at my local comic store. So it's something where it's like I'm getting 2 no matter what. I'm gonna try to get whatever covers I can.
Yeah, but
I don't know, because I was just looking at this. There is an artist named Miko Surinam, and he did this one that looks like he's holding a blade. In the reflection of the blade, you can see what the skull would look like inside of the turtle. That is just so cool.
Well, and the thing is, too, if we can get a hold of some of those blank covers, I know we've got at least 3 just out-of-this-world artists in Epic Shells.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan and Roy and... I'm drawing a blank on the last one.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry.
Absolutely, all of them. Like Ronnie, Michael, all the guys that are in the group, you know. And shout out to Epic Shell's Facebook group. So if you get a chance, if you are a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, please check out our group. It is what would we say, PG-13? So it's
yeah, we keep the sewers clean.
Yeah.
So it's family friendly.
Yes.
I've not seen any blank cover variants for this, but that doesn't shock me if they do show up.
I saw one on Easterman's thing this morning.
I believe I saw one.
Eastman's thing this morning.
Yeah, I saw one.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what's going on. But I guess final thoughts, guys. What are you thinking about the book? Anything that you're looking forward to? What do you think?
You mean all of it? Finally getting it. That one, finally getting it in my hands. No, I'm just really excited to see, like, you know, what's happening. I kind of hope they don't tell us who the turtle is in the first episode or the first issue, but at the same time, I hope they don't never tell us, or that they wait till the very last panel of the very last issue, and it's like, he's lying there dying, and then the brothers come and it's like, it's time to go, Mikey, or it's time to go, Donnie, or welcome home, Leo, or it's like, you can rest now, Raph. It's like, really, 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 you waited to tell us, really, just like, wow.
Andy,
okay.
Maybe he doesn't remember. It could be a circumstance like that. And keep in mind, turtles are animals that it's not exactly called hibernation, but they will hibernate for a long period of time. So it could be that he is just out of it, and that maybe he's just getting back into it after literally putting himself in like a stasis or something. So maybe he doesn't remember who he is.
That would be interesting. I think if they leave it open to, if they're not going to tell you, then they need to just write it so that you decide which turtle it was.
Very ambiguously.
I think they'll tell us. Yeah. I do think they'll tell us eventually.
I don't think they'll tell us right off the start. They're gonna tease it. They're gonna tease it out a little bit.
Yeah. I just don't want the blatant red mask herring dangled in my face.
No, that's very true.
But yeah, that's my theories. Be they wrong, be they right.
Yeah, and just another thing to mention on this, it's going to be published on a bi-monthly schedule, so we are going to have 2 months in between our next fix.
Oh,
so
lovely.
I know it's not going to be 6 months, so we don't have to worry about like the doomsday clock sort of issues. But because that was one of those books that was really harmed by not having them released close together. Yeah. But the sheer amount of work in it, like the artwork by Gary Frank and all that, I can see why it took so long, and I'm glad they took their time, because I think if you read that in a trade paperback, it's a much better read.
Is. Reading it the way they were putting it out was terrible.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, and it's just like, what's going on?
I forgot what happened 2 years ago when it started.
Yeah.
It is a turtle comic. Slow and steady wins the race. Good things come to those who wait. But I'm ready. I am ready.
And if you guys go back to the 80s publishing schedule, not that we all do, but Turtles was a bi-monthly book, and they actually had to release different titles from different writers and artists and all that, just to kind of fill in the gaps. Like they were selling books like gangbusters, but it was just like, okay, Mirage books come out every 2 months, so. There's not as many of them.
Demand was way high.
But, yeah, well, I want to thank you both for being on and just ask, is there any place that we can find you, Scott? So where would folks, if they want to talk to you about Turtles, or if they want to talk to you about Batman or Joker or comic books, anything like that? Where would they
I am in the process of setting up a Facebook page and other online persona. It'll be Chrome Comics, like the metal, CHROME. I will be doing weekly videos on all new comic books coming out for the week, comic care. I can grade books, so you can send me comics and I will have them graded for you. And hopefully more to come. I'd like to eventually do pool lists. If somebody wants to get new comics for every month, I can hook you up with that as well.
That's awesome. And I mean, just seeing your collection on what you have, I'm I'm always amazed by the stuff that you have.
And until Chrome Comics gets its very own spot of its own, you are more than welcome to hang out in our sewer den anytime. So you can find Scott Cromer as one of the moderators over on Epic Shell's Facebook page. It'd probably be the easiest way to get in contact with him. And then once he has his own spot, you can be sure that we will be hanging that banner in our den.
I appreciate it, man. And Justin, appreciate it for having me come on here.
Yeah. And Mr. Andy, where can folks find you other than Epic Shells?
Well, if you're into the more role-playing aspect of things, you can check us out at our flagship Epic Tales of Tabletop Facebook group. And we also have a Epic Tales podcast Epic Tales podcast, where we discuss RPGs such as Dungeons and Dragons, Kids on Bikes, and much more to come, where the roles are reversed. I will be hosting, and Mr. Cooper is my co-host.
What a juxtaposition, huh?
Yeah. The student has become the master. But no, you guys are all you listeners are more than welcome to come check us out at Epic Shells Facebook group. We do some awesome giveaways. Epic giveaways. You might even be able to wrangle down most radical member for the month, where you get bragging rights for the entire month, a little employee of the month style picture, and a mystery prize. Never know what it's going to be.
And I want to thank the listeners for sticking with us for this special bonus episode all about The Last Ronin. I hope that you learned something. So, what are your fan theories? What are your theories of who the turtle is, what happened, anything like that? Feel free to let us know. You can let us know at epictalesfromthesewers@gmail.com. You can check us out on the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast, available on Apple, Spotify, pretty much anywhere that you can find them. And also you can find us on the Epic Shells Facebook group. So I want to thank you all for listening, and you can stay tuned for some regularly scheduled.
Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman or Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This show is a fantastic podcast production in association with Amalgamania LLC. Be sure to check out the other shows on like the AmalgaCast, the Amalga Files, and the Epic Tales podcast. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and features Andy Doyle. You're listening to the Fantastic Podcast, a show about fans and for the fans. Great fan experiences and stories to tell. Check us out.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Terrificon, Connecticut's #1 Comic-Con, is back at Mohegan Sun on July 30th to August 1st. Meet actors and superheroes. Shop for cool stuff. It's 3 days of Comic-Con fun. Terrificon, Connecticut's #1 Comic-Con at Mohegan Sun, July 30th through August 1st. Learn more at Terrificon.com.